Saturday, August 17th, 2024. Where am I today? Well, I'm up on my Suncrest property. I'm going to give you a tour. I'm going to show you what this place looks like. Let's turn the camera around. Okay, so here we are. We're up on Suncrest. And as we're walking around here, we're looking at what we have. Just a little bit more than 9 acres of property. And I have been working on this for 20 years. I started clearing it in 2004. So here we are, 2024, and this is what it looks like. So I put a lot of time and effort into clearing it up. What I actually planted as for trees is nothing. I did not plant anything here. So when I was clearing it, these little trees were smaller than this one. This one, believe it or not, right in front of us, this one is only about 4 years old. I found it growing 4 years ago, and I actually trimmed it a little bit this year. So I trim all my trees, and they grow better when they are trimmed, let's say like this. I don't let the branches touch the ground, and the reason for that is when the branches touch the ground, they end up drying out. So I lift them up, and also the grass can grow right up to the tree. This place was logged out, meaning that the trees were cut down and taken to a sawmill. So when I bought it, you couldn't even walk through here. So I spent the first 10 years or 10 summer vacations clearing this. Okay, so what I mean by clearing is this place you couldn't walk. So every day that I was up here, starting in 2004, I would walk with a chainsaw and I would cut all the dead brush and I would just start piling it up. And my mission was to do one big pile per day. Okay, so how big would the pile have been? Well, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you my burn pile. This is just a regular burn pile that I have. And these are the kind of piles that I was making every day. Let's turn the camera around. Okay, something like this. So my mission was to make one burn pile per day. See this right here? You could see all these branches and stuff. Well, this is from this year's trimming. So I would do a radius of probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 meters, and just clear it right down so that there would be nothing left but stumps. Okay, you're wondering, where are these stumps? Well, if you look around, you can't see any stumps. Why is that? Because I bought a backhoe. After 10 years of clearing this, there was nothing left but little trees, let's say the size of this, even smaller. And there was nothing but stumps left, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy a backhoe. So I bought a backhoe, or like in Russia they call them excavator. I don't know why. It's not an excavator, it's a backhoe. Anyways, and I started ripping them out like wisdom teeth. Actually, here's one that's left. I did not pull it out. I am going to show you here. Okay, so we have a stump like this. This is an old cedar tree. I'm not pulling it out because it's too close to this young cedar tree. So I'm just gonna let it rot. And eventually, once it's all rotten, I'll be able to then take it out nice and easy without actually interfering with the roots that are touching this cedar tree. And it's a nice tree, so I want to leave it. But the whole property was with stumps everywhere that you could see. So then I spent the next probably 2 summers of taking all the stumps out. And as I was taking the stumps out also, I was leveling this. So made it all nice and level so that there wouldn't be any ditches or dips. And some of the rocks, so right here, I mean, that's a big rock. I did try dig out as many as I could. Here's a rock over here. This was actually underground, and it was just covering, so I actually brought it up, and I just left it here. I don't know, it'll be a lawn feature or something. So it was probably like along the line like that, but it was actually buried. So I lifted it up and just left it there. I can move it somewhere else eventually. So here it is. There are no more stumps left. There it is. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You see this pile of rocks here? Why do I have a pile of rocks here? Well, this is going to be my septic for sewage, and this is going to be my septic field. It's actually all along here. There are no rocks underground. This is all soft soil, and I just covered it up so that when it comes time to build a house, I'll know exactly the location. I also have one pine tree that I left. Normally, I do not keep pines. So right here, you see a fir. Sorry, yeah, that one's a larch. That's a cedar, and the rest are firs. And only one pine tree, so that in the future, if I'm never around, or I'm not going to be around, and somebody's here to do my septic, I will tell them, look for the pine tree, and in front of the pine tree, a pile of rocks. In front of the pile of rocks, this is an area where you can go down probably 20 feet. I made sure that there were no rocks, took them all out, put them to the side. This area right over here, you could just dig down with a backhoe, pick it up. I also left one rock right there to kind of show where the hole would be. So somebody might be looking at it and thinking, oh, he's got rocks in there. No, I placed that one there. That's just like a little marker. Okay, so there it is. This is it. This right here, we're going to go around to the other side, and I'm going to show you. That's where the house location will be. Let's go around the other way. Okay, here it is. This is where the house will be sitting whenever I decide to come and build. The house will be on here. So what I had was this section right in front of us was actually solid rock. So I had it blasted out, had engineers come to see if there's any water that would be coming out through here. Otherwise, you would have to have made it waterproof on the wall that would be on this side. But there's no water that comes through here, so it's fine. This is what I'm looking at, the view. Okay, so you'd be sitting up here like an eagle's nest. Lots and lots of sun, southern exposure. Summertime, the sun comes up right up here. 6 o'clock in the morning, sets in the west. Down that way, we have the sun till about 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, my mother lives right over there. Sun comes up at about 8 o'clock in the morning because of that ridge right there. And because of the mountain, let's take a look here. Because of that mountain right there, and our house is right over there, sun sets 7 p.m. So I get probably 2 hours earlier in the morning and an hour later at night for sun. Lots of sun. I've got my power up here. So the power is right up. There's the little bucket, the transformer. I have a service pole. So the main road is down below the hill. So I have power right up to here. And all I have to do is take it from the bucket through the service pole and into the house. I also have a well here. The well is already dug, capped, and it's good to go. Okay, let's go take a look and see what other stuff we have. Okay, this sand pile behind me actually does not belong or does not originate from this property. This comes from my other property, which is about 3 kilometers down the road. I had this hauled up here. I hired a friend of mine to bring me some sand because once I cleared everything, and especially in this forest right here, there were many dips. So what I did was, off my other property, yeah, pile right there, I got topsoil. I skimmed off, I don't know, probably about 3 inches. So what is that? 3 inches, 2.5, 5, 7.5 centimeters of topsoil. Put it off to the side. So there was a big pile. It exposed really, really good sand. Brought it up here, and for the last, how many years? 10 years. I have been every summer kind of filling in the dips. So I have over there, And the latest ones, actually Andy and I did in the last video, or a couple videos back, we're filling in little dips. So whenever there are any dips, every summer I come, fill it in. The next year you come, it's packed down. If any more is needed, just keep packing it, and eventually the place turns into a golf course type of material. So yeah, like this. So this is now marked off. It'll settle. I just don't want anybody driving on it. And next year there'll be grass growing on it, and it'll be easier to mow. Let's turn the camera around. I want to show you the side over here. Okay, so here we have this, my little forest, and you could see right up to the property line. So that is the neighbor's property and my property. And what I have been doing is making it clean so that my birch trees and my fir trees, and I do have a few cedar trees, but they're kind of more that way, they can grow. So by clearing it up, I make sure that when it rains, because I'm not here, that's the only way they're getting their water. The only water that is coming down, I'm going to make sure that the trees get all the water instead of fighting with all the bushes. Hey, they want to drink too, right? So eliminate the problem of, you know, all the vegetation fighting for the limit of the water that comes down in the form of rain. So there it is. There it is. Yeah, this birch tree died on me. I don't know what happened. Looks like maybe wind or something broke it off. But I do trim them, so everything looks good. They're healthy. They're not dying. And remember, these trees, I did not plant them. Everything was very small. Here's a couple birch trees right here. They're half alive, I guess. But what I'm doing is giving rebirth. So right there is a very small birch sapling that's starting off the main parent. Instead of cutting it out this year, I figured let it grow. And if this big one, you know, finally dies, I mean, there's still green on it, but if it finally dies, this one will continue to grow. And I did it with 2 other birch trees. This cedar right here is going pretty good. And there's a fir right over there. So same thing, I did not plant. This was all, actually it was all ditchy, and I covered it up, made it look good. So it's more of a lawn space. All right, let's go through the forest here. Once the forest is cleared up, it's much easier to walk through. And believe it or not, I'm still finding little trees. So I found this year, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ones. And I looked around and I thought, keep them. Let's see what happens. They're in an open area. They will start growing up. Eventually, I'll have a better canopy. All right, let's keep going. Okay, here you could see the sand. So there's like sand here and sand here and here. So I managed to get to this point of going with sand, and I do have a little bit more in the dips. And it's a little bit more straight, but eventually I will get it even straighter. So there's like a little depression right there. I'll fill that in. And on top of that, we will put, or I will put, topsoil. And it'll look really good. Oh, check this out. So I found this tree right here, just a little guy, about a year old. It's in a good spot. It's a nice fir. And we'll start letting her go, see what happens. Over here, even smaller, check this out. Here's a small fir. Could barely see it. There it is, right there. So I put these sticks in here, and we'll just see if it ends up growing. It's interesting the way nature works. Here's this little guy right here, and I'm giving him a chance to grow. Yet you can have a tree, let's say if you wanted to transplant, this one right here, this fir. You could plant it in the best soil. You could water it every day. Has all the sun, you're giving it all the nutrients and everything, and it dies. Yet, something like this, little guy right here, that's not planted, comes with nature, doesn't get any water, might be fighting with bad soil, and it survives, and it turns out to be a healthy tree. 30, 40, 50 years later, it's like 30 meters high or something. Also have to be really careful for the hazards of nature. I found not one, but two big, huge hornet's nests. Turn the camera on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, check this out. Look at the size of that hornet's nest. I mean, it's the size of 2 basketballs. And the funny thing is, before I found it, I was cutting along here and I was banging away at this tree. And then I realized, oh my God, there's a huge hornet's nest. I mean, this thing is so big, but it probably weighs less than an ounce. I mean, that material is like paper thin. And, well, they're not there anymore. I sprayed some wasp spray and they're all gone. Okay, what else do we got here? Let's take a look. Okay, back to this right here. This is the topsoil. It's leveled out. Looks much better. Oh, here's a nice cedar. Found this one this year and I figured let her go. She'll grow. And here it is, right along the property line. Right here, here's a couple more cedars. So the property line is actually here in the center, and I did go over a little bit to the neighbor's side, which they don't mind. And the reason is that, let's say that fir tree and this fir tree and a couple fir trees, they're actually on their side of the property, but they are starting to grow much better because they're getting more of the sun. What you see here in the forest, this is how thick it was. And I cleared it all out that now you can walk through like a park. Let's take a look at this now. What's with this chicken wire? Where's the story behind that? All right, the chicken wire story. When was this? 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago. I came up here and it was late spring. And I noticed that my trees were getting chewed. But it was only 2 species. It was only cedars and larch. So, ended up figuring it out. It was neighbors that told me, the old timers, and I also went on the internet just to confirm to see if what they were telling me is true. Yeah, it was a porcupine. A porcupine came through and started scratching the bark. And once all the bark is scratched around the tree ends up dying. So I was really disappointed that my beautiful trees were dying. So I went to the local building center and got myself chicken wire, a couple rows of chicken wire, and started to place them around my cedar trees and larch. Some fir, but mostly larch and cedar. So what I have now is I have over 100 trees like this that are ranked in. They have a lot of movement in them because as the tree grows, it's going to expand, it'll tighten up. So like this, or here's another one, see, nice and loose. But the porcupine will not be able to scratch this. So all around, about 100 trees. And that's that. Oh, you probably saw those rocks right over there. Tell you about the rock story. Okay, here are my rocks. These are probably 99% are granite. And I have been collecting them. Actually, I stopped. I did it for 7 summers. I collected rocks on the side of the road, up logging roads. And believe it or not, I was counting them. So how many rocks do we have here? Well, I can say we have 11,000 plus rocks. 11,000 rocks? How did I get that number? Very simple. My goal was each time that I would go and get a load of rocks was to get a minimum of 250 rocks. So when I would go up the mountain, I would stop the truck and I would walk on the high side of the bank. I'd be looking for rocks, but I was looking for specific rocks. I'll show you the kind they were. Okay, all the rocks in this pile here have at least one side that is a flat face. Okay, so it's nice and flat. Okay, So they're everywhere. If you look closely, everyone, big or small. Okay, there it is. They're all flat-faced. So that was the criteria. They had to be flat-faced. Number two part of the criteria was if I could lift it, okay, that's a 1 count. So if I can't lift it, I'm not taking it. So if I'm lifting with 2 hands and I'm lifting up 1 rock, I don't know, it's probably, let's say 20, maybe 30 kilos maximum. Okay, so what are we talking? I don't know, 40 to 60, 65 pounds. But if I could lift 2 rocks, 1 in each hand, because I wanted big and small, that's still going to be a 1 count. So if I lift with 2 hands, that counts as a 1. Or if I lift with 1 hand rock and then on the other hand a rock, I still count that as 1. So as I would be picking them up on a road, so if I'd stop somewhere and I'd pick up 35 rocks, I'd write down 35 rocks that I put into the truck, and then I'd drive down the road and find another one. Once I would get to my minimum 250, I'd stop and say, okay, I have, let's say, 261. Let's say that was my count. But there could have been maybe 275 because there were the 2 counts, which were the little ones. I would bring them home, and as I'm unloading it, I would start recounting again. 1, 2, 3, these are worth 1 count, even though I'm picking up 2 at a time. Eventually, my pile started to grow. So I also wanted to have at least 1,500 rocks per summer vacation. So I was living in South Korea. I'd come home, I'd get my mom her firewood, I'd do whatever, and my rocks. And so yeah, minimum of 1,500, but sometimes I would bring 1,700 or 1,750 or whatever to have 7 loads instead of 6 loads. So eventually when I stopped, it was at 11,000 plus. Okay, so there are my rocks. What am I going to do with them? I want to build rock walls. And thanks to YouTube and talking to people who do build rock walls, they told me that the hardest part about building a rock wall is not actually building it, it's sourcing the material. Well, I got my source. It's all here, ready to go. If I don't build my rock walls, I'll sell them. Think about it. Granite rocks, I could sell them at, I don't know, $1 each or $2 each or whatever. It's like 20 grand worth right there. They're rocks. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to disappear. But rot? No. Dissolve because of the rain? No, they're granite. They'll be there another 5 million years. Okay, I'm going to show you where the rock walls are going to be. I'll show you one area. Okay, so the rocks from there, from that pile, I'm going to have a rock wall that's going to be coming down, so it's going to start flush to the road. And I want to go around the trees, these 3 cedar trees, and right at the center, around here, this is going to be probably around 4 feet high, so about 1.3 meters high. This sand, I will have sanded back and then topsoil, so I want to have a bit of a lawn space with a rock wall going right around like that, and part of the driveway so you can drive around through here. All right, let's take a look here. What do we got? The well. Here's the well. So it's already capped, as you could see. I put rocks around it so that nobody can drive in and smash it. I also got some posts. This year I didn't have a chance to paint them, so I paint them red and white. I used 2 different colors. White so that you could see it pretty good at nighttime if it's lights are shining on it. Red, it goes against the snow in the wintertime if there's a snowmobile or something coming up here. And I have it guarding my wellhead. Along here, I already made my water line, and it kind of goes like that, like that, like that, and to where the house is going to be. So when we start building, the water line from where the house is going to be to where the well is, it's already here. Okay, what else do we got here? Well, I have 2 storage sheds. What do I keep in here? I don't know, shovels, rakes, just nothing. I just thought that if I'm gonna be working up here all the time instead of bringing my shovels and rakes, well, they're up here, and gloves, or if it starts raining, I could just go in there and sit down. So yeah, just storage sheds. And up by my backhoe, I have a sea can container right up in there. So that's that. As for the property line goes, so if you see the horizon with those tall trees, just behind those tall trees, that's where the property line ends. Inside those trees actually dips down. There is a little bit of a seasonal creek. So there is water that does, it's just surface water. It does come down, but it dries out in the summertime. Anyways, and the property line this way just goes past my burn pile. Probably another 30 meters past my burn pile goes that way. So lots of room, lots of privacy, nice and clean. That's what I want. And no stumps, no dips, so you're not going to break your leg walking through here. Of course, I got my fire pit. Can't have a fire because it's fire season right now. You don't want to burn the forest down. But during COVID, I would have my little fires and I would sit here and relax, and that's that. I put in some nice gravel into here, and it's all packed down now, so that's really good. It holds the dust down when any vehicles come up. Otherwise, if there was no gravel, it was all kind of sandy here and stuff. And you drive a car, even if you're going 2 miles an hour, kicks up the dust. So by putting gravel on here, I did this 3 years ago. And now it's just settling in. And it's looking good. All right, so there it is. There's my little tour of my Suncrest property. When am I going to start building up here? I don't know. I'm on my own timeline. I'm living in Russia right now, so I don't know. Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 5 years, maybe never. Maybe my children or grandchildren will end up getting this place. I'm just holding on to it. It's nice to know that I have something here in Canada, so that if I ever want to return, I can build a house. I got water, I got power, it's all landscaped. Doesn't take long to put up a house. 5-6 months, it's up. And that's that. So there it is. Yeah. Like I keep saying, I'm living in Russia right now. I'm liking it. It's pretty good. I got a job. I got my family there. We have, obviously you've seen in the previous videos, we got the dacha out there. So this is my Canadian dacha when I come during my summer vacations. I like to play around in the dirt, and it's very therapeutic. You come up here and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? You do something and it's just a sense of pride of like, you know what? I did all this. No, I did not plant the trees, but I kept the trees where they were, but leveled everything off, took the stumps out, put in the water, put in the power, built the sheds, 11,000 plus rocks. Yeah, my dream of making rock walls. Maybe one summer I'll come back and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to build a rock wall. Don't have to go up the mountain or don't have to purchase any rocks. All the rocks are there, flat-faced. Just get your mortar and put it in. All right, so that's that. Got to get going. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know, maybe it was boring for you, maybe not. I don't know, I just wanted to share and say, this is what I got. This is what I'm proud of. I've been working on it for the last 20 years. And I'm mowing the lawn here now. So, what was just a forest, a jungle, now is a golf course. All right. Okay, I gotta go. Take care. If you like this video, leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Maybe you have some ideas or thoughts. I don't know. I read all of your posts. I try to reply to as many as I can. Smash the like button. Helps with the algorithm. No, I don't get paid for any of this. I don't know, what am I at? Like 320 videos. Have I gotten a dime, a ruble, a dollar, whatever? No. This is just on my own, so I'm not making any money on it, but it does help to get more viewers when there are comments. That's just the way the algorithm works. The more people that comment, the more likes there are. It just moves it up so that people are going through surfing the internet. They end up coming up through this. Okay, I gotta go. Take care. Paka paka.